of these people are living away from their parents for the first time, and they've got money, and there's nothing to stop them just going and having fun. Don't study something you don't enjoy. Because if you don't enjoy studying it, you won't enjoy working it. Yeah, there were loads of things about aerodynamics and fluid flows and that kind of stuff, which I found really fascinating. And yeah, that's where it started, really.
Hello everyone. Today I'm very excited because it's our first interview with a native speaker. James is from the UK, and I know him because he's very interested in the Russian culture. He wants to learn Russian, and I'm his tutor. So I help him learn Russian. And today I will be talking with him about his experience of studying in the UK at Swansea University. So I hope that everything what he says will be useful for somebody who also wants to study abroad. James, hello.
Hello.
So the first question for you, can you please tell us a bit about yourself? I don't know, just in general, maybe what school did you go to and how did you decide to go to Swansea after finishing high school?
Hi, I'm James. I grew up in the UK all my life. The school I went to was in Coventry. It was King Henry VIII school for boys, I think. Although we had girls, I think they just kept the old name. Yeah, so I studied engineering at Swansea. It's something I'd always been very interested in. And the reason I ended up picking Swansea is because I met a guy on holiday with my family. We were at a resort hotel, and I made a friend there, and their older brother was studying the engineering course that I wanted to do at Swansea, and he told me about it, and that's how I decided to look there.
Oh, that's great. And can you please tell me the name of your degree? What was the full name? What branch of engineering?
I did aerospace engineering.
Very nice. Okay, so you told me that you were always interested in engineering in general, but can you please share with us why this branch was particularly interesting for you?
Oh, that's, I suppose, when I was back in school, when I was 16, in England, when you're 16, you finish what the Americans would call middle school. I'm not sure exactly what the equivalent would be in other countries. And then for 17, 18, usually you do your A-levels at a college somewhere. The school I went to, they had a college as part of the school, so I didn't change site. But as part of going up, we were given some work to do over the summer. And one of the subjects I was doing, physics, the homework we had to do was to read a book based on physics somehow and write a couple of pages about it, explaining what it was and why we're interested. So being me, I left it all until the last minute. So at the end of the summer, I tried to find any book I could, and I found one called Chaos by James Gleick. I think he's a German, or a German heritage person. And in there were loads of things about aerodynamics and fluid flows and that kind of stuff, which I found really fascinating. And yeah, that's where it started, really.
So this author inspired you so much that he actually affected you, and your choice is very nice. I also wanted to ask you about all the documents and qualifications you needed to enter the university in the UK, because I think it was different for you, not like for us. So can you please tell us how it is for British people?
So yeah, as you just said, it's probably very different to anyone who's applying from outside the UK. For me, I needed proof of identity and that kind of thing. I had to send a photocopy of my passport. just to prove I was who I said I was. But in terms of qualifications, it was just my A levels, the exams that we did in college. The way it works for us, or worked at least, it might have changed since I did it. There was not a company, like an organization called UCAS, UCAS. I can't remember what it stands for. And their job is basically to do all of the logistics for college kids trying to get into university. So from our end, we pick 5 courses, usually at different universities, but I suppose they could be at the same one. But you pick 5 courses that you might want to go on, and you tell UCAS these, and they send to the university your application. And then the universities will look at that and they'll reply and say, you can come and do this course if you get the grades B, and a C. If you achieve these grades, you can come and do this course. And then, yeah, you get your answers back from the universities. They tell you what grades you need. You try and get those grades in your exams. And if you do, then you get accepted. And if you don't, then you go into something called clearing, which is where all the universities who want to fill up any leftover spaces say, okay, so we asked for BBC and you got BCC, but we've got space so you can still join the course. Or something like this.
It's really interesting because I was also applying with the system, UCAS, and I think it's available also for foreigners. So it was exactly the same, 5 universities. So it's really good that they offer these opportunities for everyone. Okay, and in terms of A levels, I'm also curious how hard is it for people to pass them and to enter some university in the UK? Does it depend on what school have you been to, maybe private school or public?
Yeah. So the school I went to is private. They were quite good, and they definitely helped. It's hard to say because I didn't go to any of the state schools, but I have many friends who did, and it's not bad there by any means. They're just some of the extra things I had, they maybe didn't. The exams themselves, it's not so much a pass or fail kind of thing. There's you get grades. So depending on what course and what university and what they've asked, you'll get, that'll determine how hard it is. For me, actually, Swansea wasn't my first choice. My first choice was Imperial in London. They were the only ones who asked me to come to an interview, as well as doing these things, and they said I did well at the interview, so they would consider accepting me with only 3 A levels instead of 4, as long as I got A star, A star, A.
And you did not get them. That's why you ended up Swansea.
No,
okay.
That's quite difficult to do, and obviously some people can because some people go there, but I didn't.
I think in terms of rankings, the Imperial College London is also much better than Swansea, maybe, so that's why they require these marks still.
Much better, but yeah, they'll be higher up.
Okay. And before moving to Swansea, have you ever been to this city? Or it was just your first time when you actually moved to study in there?
No, it was, so this friend I made on holiday, I kept in touch with them on Facebook after we came back, and before I moved down here myself, I came at the start of the summer once their exams had finished, because they were a year or so ahead of me, and I stayed with them and I visited the area. So that was my first time, and it was, yeah. You've been in Swansea at the end of July when it's very sunny.
Yeah, that was my problem because I've never been there during summer holidays, because once I was done with my exams, I was always leaving for the whole summer. So maybe for me, I didn't experience this. But you liked the city and you wanted to stay in there, like everything was fine in terms of life there. Okay, it's nice. And can you please also tell me a bit about your campus? How big was it? How organized was everything at the university? Were you happy with your experience?
Sorry. Yes. So the Swansea University, they built a separate second campus for engineering, sports science, and business. I think there are some other things there now, like computer science as well, and some of the, I think physics is being moved. But at the time, it was just those three, and they had just, well, they hadn't finished, which was part of the problem when the term started. So that was where all my courses were, and that was where I was living for my first year. Luckily, my accommodation was finished. Some of them weren't. Some people had to live the other side of town for the first term. But the shops weren't finished. The bar wasn't finished. Even the bank, there wasn't one on site. So if you needed anything, you had to go take the bus into town and then come back. They got most of those things in place after a couple of months, but it was weird introduction, I think.
Yeah. So, like, when did you start the university? In 2015 or 16? What was the year?
2015. Yes, it was the World Cup 2015.
Okay, so it was actually the beginning of the existence of this campus, and you were there for the.
It was one of the first ones when it wasn't quite ready yet.
Yeah, I understand. It was an interesting experience. And did you live on campus or did you live off campus during your first year?
I lived on campus. I lived on, can I remember the address? The building was called Nest, and I was in floor 4, room 10, I think. So shout out to whoever's in there now. Yeah, it was good. The rooms were comfortable. All the bits that were built were very good. You know, the heating worked, the windows worked, the locks worked. There was an elevator, so I didn't have to climb up and down the stairs 5 times every day. Yeah.
It was good. Do you remember how expensive was it to live there?
Oh, it was quite expensive, I think. I think it was around 120 per week.
But you've got an ensuite room probably, so you had.
Yes, I did. It was a shared kitchen, but I had my own bathroom, so that was useful. And like I said, the furnishings were nice, so it was possibly a bit expensive, but not a stupid amount.
Especially if you compare with some other towns or cities in the UK, I think Swansea is not the worst one.
Like if I'd gotten into London.
Yeah, like you would be paying, I think, like 1,000 or something for sure per month, or even more. Okay, and can you please also tell me a bit about your flatmates or like the mates who were with you in your residence? Did you have any foreign people in there, or were most students British?
This will be interesting, actually. In my flat, so inside the building there were different flats. So I was in flat number 10 in Nest building, and I was the only English person in flat 10. We had 1 from Hong Kong, 2 from China. Sorry, I'm trying to remember this. It's been a long time. We had a friend from Luxembourg, a flatmate from Spain, Marius, and I can't remember exactly. I had a flatmate from Africa, Tawonga. I think he was from Zimbabwe, but I can't remember for certain. But
it was very multicultural experience.
It was a big mix, yeah.
And usually I ask people on this channel, okay, was it difficult for you to understand British accents, like different of them? But I want to ask you a different question. Was it easy for you to understand foreign people at the beginning, especially? How was it?
I'd say mostly yes. One of the Chinese flatmates didn't speak English, so that was difficult. But all of the others who did, I could understand them fine.
And this guy who didn't speak English, how did he study?
I have no idea.
Okay, so he couldn't speak, but he actually was at the university doing some degree.
Yeah, he must have been if he was on site, I guess, but
maybe he was just shy and didn't want to speak to anyone. Okay, it's nice. And also, how I mean, how to say it even? Yeah, how many people did you have who were doing your degree in class? How was your course in there?
So a lot of engineering is the same, whether you're doing civil or mechanical or aerospace. All of you need to know how to do maths and how to see whether a structure will fail. So for those sort of classes, there were up to 700 people because it was across all disciplines. They weren't all in the same room. You know, it'd be 200 of us would have a lecture on the Tuesday and then 200 more would have the same lecture on Wednesday. For just aerospace, and there were a couple of aerospace specific lectures. We had 120 in the first year.
I mean, it's a bit less than my course, but still so much. So it was all like huge classes, a lot of people. Yeah. And how was your timetable at the university? How busy were you?
Quite, I'd say. I think we had a lot of contact hours. In terms of lectures, there wasn't a huge amount of work that we had to do in our own time. You know, we'd be set tasks, and when coursework came out, obviously we'd have to go to the library and do things, but the majority of the learning we did was all in lectures. So we had, I struggle to remember exactly, I think between 20 and 30 hours a week of lectures. So, yeah.
And also you got like some labs as well, probably every week.
Oh, so yes, I was including labs in that. So of that 20 to 30 hours, about 6 a week would be some kind of labs, whether it's practical or computer labs or.
You know, like it was extremely hard for me, especially at the beginning, because I think in Eastern Europe in general, like in all those countries, we don't have any lab experience at school. And the first time when I when I was in the lab, it was during my first year at university. So it was extremely hard because it was all new for me. And how was it for you with practical classes? Did you have anything in school of that kind? How hard was it?
So the school I went to, we had pretty extensive labs. You know, each subject would have their own block where they could do things. The technology department, which was where they had they had everything from computer design software to woodworking lathes. They even had a foundry for casting aluminium, which was yeah. So I'd by no means an expert, but I'd had a go at some of these things and seen them in action. So when we came to studying these kind of things in the actual labs, it was quite funny for me because some of the demonstrations and the safety talks they had to do were, I thought it was really basic things, but obviously not everyone has had a chance to do them before, so it's important that it gets done.
Yeah, I think it's actually good that they spend time on explaining everything to everyone, because everyone has got a different background. So maybe for you it was boring, and for some other British people, but some people were listening very attentively, trying to catch as much as possible. But it's good that your school preparation was amazing, and actually it was not that hard for you. Okay, so I asked you about your timetable. You were actually busy, may I please also ask you about whether you had time for like doing something extra? Like, so for example, did you have a part-time job during your studies? Did you join any societies? How was your life outside of campus?
So I didn't have a part-time job during term. In the summers, I would work and I would save up money and then use that. I would live at home while I was working, so I didn't have to pay rent or buy food or anything like that. And then I could just save for the university year. There, a lot of time went on the course, but I did have time to do my own things. In the first couple of years, I joined the water polo club with the university, which was really hard work. I don't still do that because it was just too much for me, I think, especially in the later years when, so third and fourth year, when the workload got very high, I just couldn't guarantee that I would be able to go to training and matches and things like that. Sorry.
Okay, and any other societies like this one or?
Yeah, so one of my friends actually on the course, the college he went to between the school and university, they had a pool society, like in the bar.
Yeah.
Not a swimming pool.
Yeah.
And when he got to the university and they didn't have one, so he and some friends just started going, and then they saw about setting it up as an actual society and getting some funding from the uni, and I decided to join in and helped a bit with that. So yeah, he got that society up and running, and it was nice. I think it was Wednesday afternoons or Wednesday evenings. We would go to a bar in town where they had lots of pool tables, and we would just play for a couple of hours, and the university would pay for it because it was a society. So
it was really good. You had a really nice experience. I think that you tried out many things in there. There is this stereotype, and actually when I started living in the UK, like I realized that probably it's true, that British people like partying, that they go out a lot, like, I don't know, like, because for example, my flatmates, they went out maybe 3-4 times per week, and it wasn't too much for them. They were completely happy with it. So how was it for you? Did you have this crazy life outside of the university? Or no?
I didn't. I'm not that kind of party person.
Okay.
Like if I go out for a party, I can stay out late, but I will pay for it for the next few days. I can't go and do it again the next day and the next day, but I know a lot of people who can, and a lot of people who did, especially in first year, when, you know, loads of these people are living away from their parents for the first time, and they've got money, and there's nothing to stop them just going and having fun most nights. So
yeah. But at least it means that not all British people are like that, that some people did not do it. So it's
no,
also good because I did not meet anyone who wasn't like that. All the people I knew were always partying. But,
yeah, I definitely see why it's a stereotype. It's probably a majority who like to party like this.
Probably, yeah. Okay, and I know that you graduated in 2020, like this amazing year of pandemic. So can you please also share how hard was it for you to finish your final project during these difficult times? And I don't know, like just also what did you do after graduating? How hard was it to find a job in your field?
So it's difficult for me. I don't want to try and blame the pandemic, if you understand. There are, because I didn't get a very good grade in my final year. It's actually the year before that I got my degree. So yeah, I don't know, maybe this is another British thing, but it's I never feel comfortable saying, oh, I didn't do well because of this and this and this. You know, it's
so you try to take a blame and you think that, oh, maybe I did not work hard or something.
Yeah, and there's elements of that. The virus definitely made things harder. For me especially, I find it harder to pay attention on a screen than I would in an actual lecture. And things like the labs where we just couldn't go and use them were, you know, there are some bits of the course which we just don't have the equipment to do at home. And I don't really think the university could have done anything about it. You know, they can't ship a wind tunnel to every aerospace student and say, here's for your project. But it did make things a bit more difficult to finish. And then we're looking for a job afterwards. I am luckily in a job now. I have been for a few months and it's going quite well. But from last July round until March, I was looking without much luck. I spent some time working for Amazon because I needed money, but that was never going to be a career, and they fired me after 2 months because the Christmas rush ended. So that's how it goes. But yeah, it was difficult looking for a job, and I am super lucky that I've got one now.
Okay, and I think also like if you did this job at Amazon, it was a good experience, and also you managed to get some money with it, right? So that was the whole goal and the whole point of it. Yeah. So it's really nice. And where like do you work now? What company and what is your job about?
So I work now for a company called Power and Water. They make and sell water purification systems. At the moment, they're mainly used in municipal plants and at fish farms where water needs cleaning, but looking at expanding into a lot of sectors. One thing I'm quite excited about is the possibility of using them in maritime applications, because I really want to work on boats and build boats and big ships and all those kinds of things. So the idea that this might be a stepping stone towards that is a good one for me.
Yeah, it's really amazing, and it's in your field, so you can actually use everything what you've learned so far back at the university. It's really nice. I'm happy for you. And like maybe the final question, or like two last questions. So overall, are you happy with your university experience? Maybe can you please name the best things about studying in the UK and some bad things which you did not like about the university? So let's start with this question.
I think I'd struggle to talk about the UK in general because I only came to Swansea, but I've been very happy here. I love, okay, maybe not the weather. I love the beach. I love the area. I like the people. I think the city is just the right size for me. You know, it's big enough that there are things going on, but it's not overwhelming.
Yeah.
And I've made some really good friends in Swansea. I think I'm going to stick around for quite a while.
Yeah. And some negative aspects, if you can think of any.
Oh, I guess I've got to pick some. Yeah, I did touch on it. The weather can be, for about 2 weeks a year, it's beautiful. But the other 50 are a bit less. Quite windy and rainy, which is, I suppose, a stereotype as well. Yeah. But no, for the most part, I really like it here.
Okay, and the final question, what advice can you give to teenagers who are about to finish high school and who also want to go and study abroad, maybe? What advice can you give to them?
Okay.
Educational.
The best bit of advice I ever got, and maybe it doesn't apply to everyone, but for me, one of my friends told me, in the year above, that don't study something you don't enjoy, because if you don't enjoy studying it, you won't enjoy working it.
Sure.
You know, maybe you have to do something that isn't your favorite thing to get the job you want, but if it's something you actually really dislike, don't study that. Yeah.
That's a great advice. I think, yeah, it definitely applies to like every field, to every person. And also, I think, for example, if you actually started studying something and you hate it with all your heart, maybe it's better just to stop and to try yourself doing something else rather than being there for 3 or 4 years, like spending so much time, because after that you will definitely regret it, and it can be even worse. Okay, then. Yeah.
This was back when I was choosing A levels, and saying, you know, if you hate it now, you're not going to like it when it's a degree, and you're not going to like it when it's a job. So,
yes. Thank you so much, James, for sharing your experience with us. And yeah, like it was really interesting talking to you, and I'm sure it will be interesting for people as well. So please leave your comments so we can answer any of your questions you might have, and subscribe to our channel. Have a very, very good day. And James, have a very good day as well. Bye-bye.
bye.